Your boy had to get clean, showered. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you a little musical presentation, and then I'm going to talk to you about what's been going on since the last time I talked to you, which was a long time ago. It's like 2 months. Some stuff has happened, not much, but it deserves an update. But anyway, here's a little musical cover. Walking in the woods one day, I met a man who said he was a magical, wonderful things he said. Pointed hat upon his head, he knew why people laughed and cried, and why they lived, and why they died. Shadows follow him around. He knew he was without a single sound. Golden eagle at his door. Cats and bats play on the floor. Silver sunlight in his eyes. He knew he walked without a single sound. Walking in the woods one day, I met a man who said he was a magical, wonderful things he said. Pointed hat upon his head, he knew people laughed and cried, and why they lived and why they died. Well, that was that. But so let's go over here. It's been a while since I made one of these, obviously, but it's mostly because of work, and also it's like I haven't really been going out. I just play music. But what I did want to say was, remember, first of all, I want to brag. Let me brag a little. 4 double shifts in a row, 14, 15-hour shifts. Nobody cares about that. Is what some people said when I, brag openly. But it's like, you don't understand why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this for financial reasons or, just to brag. But maybe another time I'll talk about it. But yeah, I've been doing that. Like, I first did a three-peat, so 3 double shifts in a row. And then I did 4 double shifts like the next week. But it's because the people that gave me when I first started my job, I was trained at different locations, and I since moved. So when they need help, it's like you know, out of the goodness of my heart, I do it, even though it's like it, it tires me out. But I kind of feel like it's a sign of respect, like if they train me and they got me to this, you know, I don't know what the term is. Like if they taught me all this, it'd be a shame if I just turned my back and said, no, I'm not helping. But side note, I was watching Super Size Me earlier today, and dude, I was craving McDonald's. So I went to go buy like a. I thought to myself, I'm gonna ball out and just treat myself. Let me sit down. I'm gonna treat myself and splurge a little bit and order like, which I normally just order like 2 McChickens or 2 McDoubles. But I was like, I'm gonna splurge. I'm gonna spend 12, 13 bucks and get the good combo. But then I was like, I was at the drive-thru and I looked at the prices, dude. I was like, dude, you know what, man? I still see myself as that guy who, grew up in, kind of the hood, and had was poor, and I remember only be able to like eat fast food occasionally because like it was cheaper to just eat beans and rice, even back then. But so I was like, I'm not gonna splurge 13, 14 bucks, whatever it was gonna be, 12 bucks, whatever. And so I opted out for the cheap $5 meal, because I was like, I'm not dropping this after working 4 doubles. I know I could have easily afforded it, but it's like after like 7 minutes of you eating that meal, like you're gonna regret. You're gonna regret like you know splurging all that. But aside from that, Yeah, I remember a couple of people that I talked to about when I talk about working so much. It's like, oh, you're gonna be 35 one day, and you're gonna look back and be like, man, I wasted my life working. And I was like, I don't think so. I think it'd be the opposite. I think I would have been ashamed of myself. This is for me personally. Like, I didn't get a master's degree or like, you know, you know, how do I word this without saying? I didn't work hard and spend a couple of years extra in school to get a master's and just so I can make the base salary of my degree. Or when I could have easily put all this time and energy, especially in the prime of my life, put in extra time. So when I'm older, I don't have to kill myself because there's people that have been working where I am. They're like 50 to 60, and I'm like, and they need to be there. Like, I would probably still work. Like, even if financially I don't have to. Like when I'm older, like if I was lucky enough and you know had the opportunity to just not have to show up, like I would still do it. Like, but my point being is like I didn't like, you know, what's the term I'm looking for? I didn't work that hard just so I can take it easy and work my little 40 hours a week. For me personally, like to me, like whenever I think about like why am I working like 60 hours, I think about like when I was younger, when my mom and I were by ourselves, and we weren't even renting an apartment. We were like renting. I guess the term is subleasing. I don't know what the actual term is. Basically, some guy owned the or had a condo for rent. Then he was renting it out to us, like renting a room to us. So my point being in telling you that is like I still think of myself whenever I like feel like quitting or feel like, oh man, like why am I working so hard, or like what's the point of having like making all this money in one day, like when you're doing these double shit. And it's like I just don't want to go back to that, like or have my children go back to that and being able to like one day maybe retire my mom. That to me is it. I don't care about like a brand new car, like who cares, like I had the same car since high school. Like it's like people ask me like, oh, why don't you drop some money on like a new car, like a BMW or Mercedes? I'm like, dude, like let's say I do that. Let's say tomorrow I go to the dealership and I lease a brand new BMW, let's or Mercedes or Jaguar, whatever. Let's say I do that. The next like a couple of weeks from that, what's gonna change? Like I don't care about that stuff. Like nobody does really. Like I mean, they'll probably be like, oh, that's a nice car, but they're not gonna be like, I don't know what people. I don't know. Like I just don't think. For me personally, I wouldn't care. Like people like say, oh, you should dress better because you're working here. Like I'm talking about outside of work. Like some relatives are like, why don't you like dress like in a suit or like white pants or something? I'm like, dude, that to me is the dumbest thing. To me, I thought the coolest thing was just wearing like just wearing like a basic t-shirt and some gym shorts. Like that to me is cool. Like that to me is what I want. Like why would I want to walk around like you know I get everyone's different, I guess, but for me personally, that to me is it. But my point in telling you like the reason I work so much is not for materialistic crap. It's not for like I mean, I thought about it the other day. I was like, I should probably treat myself. Like this Christmas, like I busted my tail, like working all these doubles and working so much, like 50 to 60 hours a week. There was one week where I was like, a couple weeks where I was working like 70. But my point in telling you that is, I thought about treating myself and buying something, and I was like, what did I always want as a little kid? And it was an expensive guitar, but it was like 2 grand, 2,500, and I could afford it now. But it's like, let's say I do drop that amount, like I would always be afraid of people like breaking into like my house or or like breaking it myself accidentally. So I decided not to because I was like, you know what, I have my black guitars that I had for a couple of years now. That to me is it. Like I don't. It would have been nice to buy it, but it's like that's a lot of money, man. Like I said, I always go back whenever I think about buying something crazy. I still go back to when me and my mom were by ourselves, and my mom was struggling because she was working like 2 or 3 jobs. I forgot exactly where she was. She was working like in a factory, and she was working as a maid. And she was doing something else. I forgot. Like I think she was like, what is it when you pick fruit from them? In Spanish, they call them piscando or pescando. I forgot exactly what it is. It's like when you pick a. She was doing that too, but my point in telling you all that is, like, I still think about that stuff, and that to me motivates me so much. Like, dude, I am not going back there. Like, even when it's like the 12th hour, I'm like, I'm gonna bust my tail and make this money, and so I guess to me, I think it'd be kind of a shameful if my mom sacrificed all that and I just ended up like some drunk, even though I never drank before, except when I was like accidentally 7. And that's a different story. But like it'd be a shame if she killed herself, worked her way up, like working all these jobs, and I just ended up like some loser. That's why it kind of works so much. Like, but my point in telling you, I just went on a rant there. But my point in telling you all that is maybe to motivate you, and that materialistic is a bunch of bologna sandwich, and I always, I mean, people say, well, don't I feel kind of bad for you because you didn't have your father. Like, to me, the real tragedy would be if I lost my mom. Like that to me would be sad. Like, I mean, my dad was a broke bum, so like he didn't even try working. So his opinion would mean nothing to me now because people are always asking, why don't you go try to find it? I'm like, dude, that guy is an idiot. Like some brokey, like I always brag. I'm not surprised. I'm surprised he hasn't come into where I work because supposedly he lives around here. And I was like 25 when I realized what his first name was because I didn't really care what his name was because my mom told me some of the shit he was doing. And I'm like, and the way he treated her, and I'm like, yeah, I have no interest in meeting this idiot ever. But my point is, people say, why don't you try to meet him? I'm like, dude, no, like I think. I mean, there was a time where I was curious what would it would be like, but I think now it's like if I were to see him, I just ignore him. Like, get out of here, you peon, you peasant. Like, but my point in this video is also to talk about like, first of all, I know all of you are like, oh my gosh, what happened to him? Like, he was so handsome, so smart, such a genius, talented. I know that's what you were thinking, but I'm alive and well, but just a little busy with all these shifts working. But real quick before we end this video, I know some people say, "Oh, how do I stay so handsome and so thin like yourself? What's the secret?" When during the worst year when I was drinking like 5 sodas a day, like I would drink like 5 regular Cokes, and we upgraded now to little Coke Zero. And dude, I'm telling you, this makes a big difference because I used to feel like crap like around 2 o'clock when I would work in the morning, like from like 7 to like 3:30 would be my shift, and then like 2 I feel like crap. But when I drink like the regular stuff, for me personally, I don't know, maybe it's different for you. But yeah, and I also drink some of these depending on how many hours I work in the day. Sometimes I chug 2 or 3. But yeah, that's kind of honestly how I lost some weight, just drinking. This is not advice for like how to lose weight or anything like that, but I'm just telling you what I did. I don't recommend it. Don't do it. Like, instead of just drinking soda like all day, I just chug some energy drinks since it's like no calories. This is not sponsored, by the way. I know that's a shock to you, but yeah, like all I read when I first bought these, I was like, it says low calories and not, I think, not some ridiculous amount of sugar like other sodas, but this is an energy drink. This is it now. But that's basically a little day, a little chat. I hope you had fun. Just remember, I was gonna leave you with some advice, but your boy's kind of out of it because I woke up like at 5:30, and it's like almost midnight. So, but thank you for watching. Maybe one day, maybe I'll talk about something else regarding something other than like working or like music or oh, that's what it was. I don't know how to word this without offending people, but there was somebody at my work. It doesn't really work with it. He just I guess like we call him when we need repairs. But basically, we were talking about, and I'm just like, dude, I was looking on Zillow, and I could afford to buy like a little house down the street. But you got to remember, this is like in the hood. Like this is ghetto. Like ugly, ugly house, and I would barely be scrapping by in this expensive state. Whereas if I moved to a cheaper estate, I mean, I could live in a decent house. But he was telling me, he's like, you really want to move to a different state? Like we have everything here. I'm like, dude, I literally saw a guy take a piss in front of the freeway. I am okay moving to a different state. Like this place is gone. This is a Titanic, in my opinion. Place is going up. You know, and then I look at videos of the states where I have the options to move, and I'm like, oh man, that sounds like heaven. Like cheap gas, you know, a house I can actually afford without having to like have roommates or anything like that. Like that to me is it. You know, whereas here you're paying so much in property tax alone if you manage to get like a house here. And even then, dude, it's like even if you do, let's say you beat the odds, you know, you graduate, you know, you stay away from bad stuff, blah blah blah. You're still living in a shack. Like it's not even nice. Like so, why bother? To me, it's like, dude, I'm moving out of here a year and a half, a year. Like I had it. This place is so annoying, man. It's almost like $5 or not anymore, but at one point it was like $5 for a gallon of gas, and I'm like, dude, I I remember when I was like, side note, I remember when I was like 19, I was making like $8 an hour, and I was just looking at my reflection at the gas pump, and I'm like, dude, like you see that guy staring at you? That guy just that guy literally spent half his pay or half his hourly wage on just a gallon of gas because I was making $8. I was working at a music store, like DVD CD place. I was like 18 or 17 to like 21 or something. My point being is like it is so hard to survive out here if you don't have a decent job. Like if I wanted to, I could go out and live on my own stuff like that. But that's because I work like so much, not because it's necessarily cheap out here. But my point in telling you all that is like he's like, why don't you just like get roommates? And I'm like, dude, it feels nice not to have anybody around. Like I just want to come home and play guitar all day. I hate being outside, so I'd probably be happy in like Vegas or like Nevada, where it's like supposedly like 100 degrees. Actually, it is because when I went like a couple years ago, it was like 110. My point in telling you that is like, to me, life is just work. Work your hours and then come home, play guitar, do what you want. Because being indoors, I hate being outside. Like, I don't know why people say, oh, let's go on a hike at 12 p.m. Fudge that, man. Like, you probably be lucky to see me like around like 6 or 7. Like, I am not burning myself to go out, walk up some hill. Fudge that. But anyway, let's see if there's anything else. This is right off the cuff. This was not planned. Like I was gonna go to bed and just call it a night, but I'm trying to think of anything else. I was reading. I was the one thing I am excited about is reading the Alex Van Halen book. This is not promoted, obviously, but like I was looking on YouTube and I'm like, dude, he's doing pictures and an autograph. That alone would be like, I would drop $200 just for that alone. $500. Actually, no, maybe not that much. Like 200. I think the book's only like $30 or $20. But I was like, whoa, man! Like he's doing pictures. Like, oh man, I wish he was doing it around here because I'd probably go do that. But aside from that, just playing music. Like that to me is fun. Like people say, why don't you go on vacation? I'm like, dude, I love coming home, just playing guitar and like listening to a new song and just plotting the vocal melody on guitar on an electric guitar, and then playing it for like 2 or 3 times, and then you know singing it out loud, and then eventually go on YouTube and look up karaoke track of that song and singing it. Like that to me is fun. Like I don't know about you, I don't know what you'd like to do for fun, but that to me is it. Like people say, why don't you go to like Japan or Australia now that you're working so much and you made some money, especially like during the holidays because there's so much work. You know, I mean, it's gonna be pretty busy in the holidays. And I'm like, dude, that to me hasn't. I have no interest in that. Like, I don't care. Like, shout out to the fans, the very few fans out there. But I just want to sit home and play guitar all day, like in like sing and make my videos. Like, this is fun to me. Go to the beach and have a walk or make a video of that. That to me is fun. Not like going on an airplane. Spending. I don't know what people spend on vacation. 5 grand, 10 grand. Is that what you do? 7 grand? Like, no thanks. Like, the last thing I want to do is go on an airplane, be surrounded with people I don't want to be with. Because let's be honest, around here anyway, like you're gonna have to fly out to go somewhere really nice. Like, unless you want to drive a couple, like 3 or 4 hours around here, then you might as well just go to an airplane, go to, like, I don't know, New York, Florida. I don't know. People like to go on vacation. Japan, Australia. I don't know. Like, that to me does not. Maybe one day when I'm like older, but now it's like no interest as of yet. But shout out to the fans that are out there though. Aside from that, maybe we'll make one tomorrow. Toodles.